Well, good Friday evening, Arkansas. This is Jay Forecaster coming back here once again. I'm here to give you guys your evening forecast video before your 7-day forecast comes out at about 7:30 this evening here. So, a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about before we get started here. First and foremost, we will not have a evening forecast video tomorrow. You will have a 7-day coming back on Sunday here, so to kind of keep that in mind. And then secondly, I've had a lot of questions about this upcoming winter. We're going to see, snow and cold. What's to expect for this upcoming winter? Well, first and foremost, we do have our fall outlook on our YouTube. So if you need the link to our fall outlook, contact us or check out our YouTube. We have it in the playlist. Secondly, our winter outlook is going to be released October 18th on our Patreon. So if you would like to check out that winter outlook by that time, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. If not, we have the winter outlook coming out for the public on November 1st here. But if you want early access to the winter outlooks and including some screenshots here and there of what it's going to look like over the next week or so, then I heavily suggest becoming a Patreon supporter. That's going to be patreon.com/Arkansas Weather Watchers here. So let's talk about the current weather at this point here. We've had two fronts. We've talked about this for like the last 2 weeks, that we were going to have these strong cold fronts that are going to start moving through, and that's when we're going to start seeing the pattern change here. And this is what we've got. So last night's cold front, you can see kind of from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, up towards Tennessee and into the Ohio Valley. That one brought the initial shot of cooler air, more drier air than cooler air. Temperatures today still managed to get into the low 80s here. You can see Little Rock right now, 81 degrees, Hot Springs 81, majority of the areas in the 70s and 80s. But our next cold front, which we told you guys a couple of days ago that it was going to be the strongest out of the two, you can definitely tell the temperature difference here. So Bentonville right now coming in at 61 degrees versus 81 in Little Rock. That is about a 20 plus degree drop coming in behind this cold front here. Temperatures are even colder back out towards Oklahoma and southwestern Missouri and southeastern Kansas, where you see those blues up there. Those are temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s here. That colder air will move in as we get towards the night here. So let's take a look at the regional outlook for just a little bit here, and you can see how cold it is just to the north of this boundary here. So there's Arkansas right on your bottom right corner of your screen. Take a look at the northern plains here. Temperatures in the 40s. They've been having daytime highs in the 40s and 50s up here all day long. That colder air is going to move down into Arkansas as we get towards late tonight and especially tomorrow morning here. And you already have frost advisories up here. You have freeze warnings across this area here. So it's not going to get that cold. However, for our folks in northern Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, we're not under any sort of frost advisory or anything like that. But just use your judgment, but just in case temperatures are a little colder than what we're currently anticipating here across the area here, okay? Eventually, I do think as we get towards probably the next 2 weeks or so, I do think we will start talking more about frost and freeze the later you get into the October time frame here. So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll have all that information and stuff like that when the time comes. But at the meantime, we're not expecting any temperatures that cold just yet. But just use your judgment up here in northwestern Arkansas here. So let's take a look at our evening highlights for tonight here. First cold front moved through last night. That's done and over with. Our second cold front, which the strongest out of the two, will be moving through late tonight and part of your Saturday morning. Windy conditions, by the way, we will have wind gusts upwards to 20 to 25 miles per hour. I didn't talk about this, but your surface temperatures will be in the upper 30s and low 40s across northern Arkansas, but with the wind gusts upwards to 15 to 20 miles per hour, you will have some wind chill problems up there. Wind chills could easily be in the upper 20s and low 30s. So if you got plans first thing tomorrow morning, bring that hoodie. It's going to be definitely cold up there across northern northwestern Arkansas here. Temperatures should moderate as the day progresses into the upper 50s and low 60s. Some places in higher elevations north Arkansas may even struggle to get out of the mid 50s. That is the type of air mass we're going to have in place for tomorrow and into your Sunday here. So once we get past this weekend, temperatures are going to start to moderate. And when I mean moderate, I don't mean 90s and 100s. I mean that temperatures will start to rebound back to upper 70s, low 80s, near average for this time of the year. And then our next shot of colder air will be coming in as we get towards the same time frame next week. And we'll have to watch that Wednesday and Thursday time frame for the potential of seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms here. We'll keep an eye on that at this point here. So, burn bands. Thanks to the rainfall we saw the last couple of nights, today's Friday. I think it was Wednesday night and Thursday, The rainfall we saw Wednesday and Thursday night has brought relief back to Arkansas. It has brought a lot of beneficial rainfall here, and it has brought down the burn bans. We're only down to 4 counties that has burn bans right now. I think Logan and Perry County will probably be the next 2 that gets off the list. Woodruff, Lee County, you guys didn't see much over there, so I think burn ban may stand. But majority of the area does not have a single burn ban except for 4 counties. So that is great news. I remember when I started doing these videos last month, almost the majority of the area had burn bans, and now we're down to 4 here. So we're making great progress, Arkansas. Let's talk about the wildfire risk. This doesn't really correlate with the burn bans. This is just kind of taking conditions of like, what does your ground moisture look like? What are the conditions in terms of low humidity, etc. This year, wildfire risk still a moderate wildfire danger. So, you know, if you're doing any bonfires, anything like that, my best advice is just to make sure it doesn't go unintended. That's just my best advice to you. It doesn't mean you don't need to do it or anything like that. It's just make sure it doesn't get out of control. If that makes sense here. But right now, you've got definitely a thumbs up in terms of doing bonfires and stuff like that, especially tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's going to be perfect for that across the natural state here. So let's talk about tonight here. And like I mentioned before, far northwestern Arkansas, Fayetteville coming in at 35 degrees with the latest information with the guidance. Biggest thing I would suggest, like I said before, we don't have a frost advisory yet. We'll see if one gets issued. We'll let you guys know if one gets issued for far northwestern Arkansas. But my advice to you is if you have any plants out, it won't hurt to cover them, especially if you live in Harrison, Jasper, up towards northwestern Arkansas near Fayetteville, Bentonville. It won't hurt. Even if temperatures don't get as cold as this, it doesn't hurt at the end of the day. So just kind of keep that in mind. Across the rest of the natural state, you will only get into the low to mid 40s and upper 40s near 50 across southern Arkansas. So I'm not really expecting any frost conditions across central Arkansas or southern Arkansas or eastern Arkansas at this point here, mainly for my folks up there in far northwestern Arkansas at this point. So let's talk about some model data here real quick. And here's some model data at this point. And give me just 1 second. And we're going to switch this over. Let's go to the WPC real fast. And this is what we've got the rainfall coming in over as we get towards next week here. And let's take this out. And you guys can see as we get towards that Thursday time frame here, it's not going to be an excessive amount of rainfall. It's just going to be hit and miss. It just depends on what happens with the system as we get towards next week. I'm not expecting any widespread severe weather, but I can't rule it out because you will have a clash of temperatures here as we get towards next week, and I'll show you that coming up here in just a little bit. But if you go with the WPC, generally near 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, maybe an inch of rainfall closer to the Arkansas-Missouri border. So we'll keep an eye on that. Like I said before, right now, not really expecting a whole lot of significant rainfall here, but things can change as we get towards the early part of mid to late part, of next week at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that. WPC kind of hinted at this earlier on, like I think the last week when we were talking about Wednesday and Thursday, and rainfall totals kept going up and up and up and up as the time progressed here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with all that here. Now, let's go over to the European model here. Now, this is the temperatures as we get towards next week here. So like I said before, we'll get back to the upper 70s, low 80s. It's not going to be as oppressive as it was the last 2 weeks when we were dealing with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s across the area here. I remember Pine Bluff getting to 97 degrees, which is just unreal. So not really expecting all that this go around, but we'll keep an eye on it here, okay? So you can see with the Euro, there's your front boundary moving through late Thursday and the Friday. It keeps the majority of the storms in Missouri and far northern Arkansas, not much in central and south. We'll see. I think right now we're still trying to pinpoint on where the exact track of that low pressure is going to go. If it is further south, we will have to watch out for some strong to severe storms. If it's further to the north, won't be a big deal for us here in Arkansas. It'll be a bigger deal for our folks to the north there. So we'll keep an eye on that. But you can see by the time we get towards next weekend, look at here, temperatures for highs, by the way, for high temperatures in the low 50s across northwestern Arkansas, 60s and 70s elsewhere. And we could take this out even further as we get towards next Saturday here. Temperatures similar to tomorrow, upper 50s and low 60s across the area here. So like I mentioned before, we do have that cold front as we get towards next week. A lot of details need to be worked out in terms of severe weather potential or anything like that. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here in your source for all things Arkansas weather.